What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome to the UFC Houston recap. I'm actually recording this right after UFC Houston concluded, and unfortunately, we didn't have a super rough card, but took the first L on the year. I think a lot of people that I watch and respect in this MMA space probably got hammered a bit on this card. I mean, we hit some really nice plays with some long shots on the bonus bets and, the sprinkles. That's why I love to play those. But some of my most confident picks didn't hit. And that's just the nature of the game. I'm going to post the updated ROI. It's, now a little bit lower than what it was going into UFC Houston, but that's just how it goes. All right. Last three cards will be right there, including UFC Houston. Again, that's just the nature of sports betting. You're going to have good runs, and then you're going to have a day that goes badly, or a week, or multiple. All right. But, I'm going to be transparent, going to be honest. So, if you're tailing some of my plays, sorry that I didn't come through for you. I'm disappointed as well. But if you faded some of them, good for you. You made some money. All right. But overall, I always look at it like, yes, it could have been way better, but it could also have been way worse, and there were some fights in this that were nice money makers for me that almost didn't go that way, and I would be a lot more worse off. So, as disappointing as I am to take a losing card and, for the three card win streak to come to an end, it is what it is. And it's kind of refreshing, or like relieving, to like get that off your back, and we'll move forward. So we'll go up and down the card here. Carly Judice and Juliana Miller. I mean, I really wanted to sprinkle Judice at decision, but the odds just weren't good enough for me. Saw such a high finishing upside, and she was piecing up Juliana Miller, but credit to Miller, she's clearly tough. And she almost had some submissions there on Carly Judice, which I guarantee, if you're someone like myself who caught Judice money line when it was minus, 520, there was probably some people that had parlay pieces with that had a lot higher stakes than I had it, so they're probably sweating. But this fight really didn't go the way we wanted to. She didn't get the knockout. Again, she pieced her up, so it wasn't not a terrible bet, I don't think. I probably shouldn't have done the under 2.5 rounds. Not a bet that I really liked there. But, money line parlay piece, I mean, take it as a victory, I guess. But she was minus 520, so I'm not really going to flex that. But, Juliana Miller, I think she commanded some respect in there. Massive underdog, and she at least put up a fight and had Judice threatened on submission at one point. So, didn't really have a great result there. And then Yadier Del Valle, man, he got absolutely dominated by Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, man. Maybe he's moving down a weight class, and they were saying in his walkout that he feels like he's going to be the bigger guy. And, he's probably got sneaky strength, man. Like, nobody looks at him and thinks this guy is strong because he's a goofy looking dude. He does goofy antics. I mean, he was smacking Del Valle's ass in the third round. Del Valle got absolutely dominated. So I said I was a little bit wary on it when I had my, early leans breakdown, and I should have been more wary on it, because as time went on and, I was looking more into it and, listening to other people give their takes on it. I don't base my opinions and takes solely off of other people, but I definitely I just like to take as much information in as I can. And again, I think this is a guy that the public was all on, so I'm not really, too mad at it, but he looked like shit. So maybe that there's going to be people talking shit to him, especially because now it's like, how can you even say you have a legitimate UFC victory because your one win was fixed? So, yeah, not a good showing from him. But Jordan Levitt, man, maybe he could put something going, or put something together. JPL, though, this was a fight that went well, and I thought it was going to start, a really positive track. We hit on all fronts here. I mean, this guy is going to become one of my favorite fighters because he did like the Piotr Jan meme yell in his way in. And he goes out there and gets a decision. He almost subbed Phil Rowe. I was like, Phil Rowe, get out of it. We need this decision. I don't know how the fuck that went to. How it went to a split. I don't know what the one judge was seeing for Phil Rowe. I thought it was 30-27, to be honest with you. I mean, I know like JPL or Mufasa, I think was his actual nickname. He like was wearing it, like his nose was bleeding, but like he was landing takedowns. He was controlling Phil Rowe. He had sub attempts. He was landing good shots. Like, I don't know how you could give. I mean, maybe you could give 1 round, but 2 rounds to Phil Rowe. Judging in MMA, man, it's just like, it's a volatile sport. And that's why even in cards where I lose a lot more than I win, I'm not putting a lot of stakes on it because it's just like, you never know in this. I mean, as we'll get into it, like when we talk about the Jeff Neal fight, somebody can get flatlined like that. Fluffy Hernandez, a guy who, you know, is on an 8-fight tear going against Sean Strickland, who doesn't finish anybody lately, gets TKO'd. It's such a volatile sport, and, you know, giant favorites can lose, and judging can completely fuck you over. Judging almost fucked us over here. I was baffled that it was a split, but either way, it went our way. In this fight, check mark across the board. So thank you, JPL. You're now one of my favorite fighters. Ramiz Brahimaj, Punahele Soriano. It looked like the Brahimaj money line might be going well in the first round. And then Soriano pretty clearly won those last 2. There were some moments where, you know, maybe both guys looked like they could get a finish, but unfortunately that didn't hit. I literally only had those 2 bets on this fight, so it is what it is. I'm not mad at it, but Brahimaj, of course, like the 1 week he's not a dog is when he loses. I think enough money came in before fights start that Soriano was actually the favorite again. But yeah, again, that's why I didn't have a ton of stakes on it. Like, I just thought Soriano would shoot a double leg and Brahimaj would catch him in a guillotine, but I don't even think Soriano ever shot in this fight, if I'm not mistaken. Or if he did, maybe once or twice. So I wasn't super confident in it. Didn't hit either of our bets there, but didn't really hurt too bad. Okay, yeah. Jocelyn Edwards, man, what a hit this was. This really saved us from having a bad card, like a bad card. And honestly, Edwards lost the first round, and so I was like, God damn, this is not going well. And then she, like, judo throws Nora Cornell. She lands badly on her shoulder and head, and, like, apparently fucked up her shoulder. Edwards starts getting the ground and pound going, and then sinks in the rear naked choke to cash a 7-1 sub play. And then I actually had the win by finish boosted to plus 416, but I think the original odds is what I put on my original video, or my video with the official predictions was like plus 375. So I just put the actual sportsbook odds on there. But yeah, I mean, this was a big hitter for us. If this didn't happen, I would be down bad from this card. I'm not gonna lie to you. This fight was like the last fight that went like perfectly well for me. But yeah, shout out Jocelyn Edwards. But if Nora Cornell didn't land on her shoulder and head like that, I don't know if she would have won. But it is what it is. And we cashed, so I'm definitely not going to complain. Alton Correa, Luis Garule. I mean, Alton Correa styled on him. He looked way better, way crisper with the striking. He was good with the scrambles on the ground. I thought maybe he'd get a finish there in the third round because he was working the body. And I was like, dude, go chase your finish bonus. And obviously we had him to win by finish straight up. Didn't go down like that, but we did hit his money line for a couple parlay pieces. But yeah, he looked really good. Garule might be on roster watch. We'll see. Alton Correa, though, definitely a prospect to watch here. I think by the way, I'm going to take a pause here to say, I think from now on, if I have time to do it, like I know for a fact I won't be able to next weekend for UFC Mexico because I will be with my girlfriend's family. But when I watch these cards, I'll try to do these breakdowns right away because I can rattle off the takes and my opinion is much faster because it just happened. So, I mean, we're already up to the Ode Osborne fight, and we're not even 10 minutes in. So, but yeah, I'll try to do as much as possible because, yeah, some of my other videos have been like 50 minutes long, and I don't try to make videos that long. So, try to do this for the recaps just immediately after, or at least no more than like a day after. That way, it's fresh in the mind, and you just rattle off. So, anyway, with that out of the way, Ode Osborne and Alibia Diris. Ode Osborne. I thought the frenetic pace that both of them came out with would lead to a finish, and they said Alibia Diris like fell to the mat after round one. So I'm thinking, great, he's gassed out. We're going to cash on both fronts because he's going to be tired, and Ode Osborne's going to catch him with something. But apparently his cardio was fine, and he gets a win. That's a really good win for your official debut. And again, that loss to Joseph Morales has been aging well, so I didn't want to back him because he was a massive favorite in the Ultimate Fighter and got easily disposed of. And then you're making your debut against a dangerous veteran. But hey, credit to him. I'll be interested to see where he goes from here. But yeah, again, didn't have a ton of stakes in this, just those two plays. They unfortunately both did not hit. Carlos Leal, Chidi, and Njokuani. I don't know how the fuck we didn't get a knockout here. I mean, they were both throwing. We got the Leal money line. Good for him. I felt really good, you know, seeing him get a decision because his UFC debut, he lost. And John Anik even said it on the broadcast. It was like he lost one of the worst decisions of all time when he lost to Rinat Fakhretdinov. And then he knocked out Alex Morono and then got knocked out by Muslim Salikov. So for him to go in there and win unanimously against a dangerous veteran like Chidi Njokuani is a really good look for him. Glad he, you know, for my sportsbook accounts, I wasn't glad that he won by decision, but for watching the guy personally, I was happy for him. I don't know how the fuck one of these guys didn't knock each other out, but it is what it is. At least we got the Leal money line. Main card opener, Zach Reese. I'm not going to lie. Do I disagree with the result? Not necessarily. It was really close, but I thought the Texas judges would give it to Zach Reese. This was a weird fucking fight, man. I mean, there was multiple stoppages for nut shots that didn't look like nut shots. There was an eye poke, which I think was an eye poke, not like a severe one. I mean, this was a funky-ass fight. Zach Reese just isn't good. I don't think Michelle Pereira is good either. Yeah, the under didn't hit, nor did Zach Reese money line. I had the bonus bet on him to win by KO TKO in rounds 1 or 2. Wish I would have used that for the Judice decision, but I mean, again, the value for there just wasn't where I wanted it to be. But yeah, I was hoping the Texas judges would come through for me after some fucking sus shit in the JPL fight. But what are you going to do? You know, I think these last 3 or 4 fights I talked about, the Brahim Oz, Ode Osborne, Leal, Njokuani, and then Reese and Pereira, I think those are my bottom 4 in my confidence and stakes. So, you know, if I'm going to miss my bets on those, at least I'm not putting a whole lot on it. Jacoby Smith and Josiah Harrell, the Ohio bias got me. I was giving Josiah Harrell a little bit too much credit and maybe just not giving Jacoby Smith his flowers. I mean, I don't know. I was just like, this dude was tired in the second round fighting Nico Price. And yes, I know he subbed him, but it's like the ghost of Nico Price at this point. And Josiah Harrell was an 11-0 prospect who looked really good on the regional scene, albeit I know it's not UFC comp. This was a brutal finish, man. Like, yeah, it was kind of scary. He was like struggling to get up and like fighting the ref or wrestling the ref and medical staff after, but then they showed a shot of him walking out on his own power. So that was good to see. But Jacoby Smith, man, this dude's going to be a problem. He caught out Kevin Holland. Why not give it to him, you know, and let him slime out Kevin Holland, hopefully. But you never know, like, Kevin Holland would be like a plus 400 underdog or something. Maybe not that much. I'm just throwing a number out there. And then he'd come out and like fucking submit him with a Darce choke or something like that because it's Kevin Holland. So if he does fight Kevin Holland, you will not catch me putting more than like $10 on that fight, because fuck that on a Kevin Holland fight. But yeah, Jacoby Smith, man, he showed out, and my Ohio bias cost me a little bit there, but it is what it is. Ante D'Elia, Sergey Spivak. If D'Elia didn't gas out, what was that, in round 2? When he had Spivak hurt, he would have won this fight by knockout. But you could just tell he ran out of gas throwing those flurry of strikes. Credit to Spivak, man. He did not have to wrestle at all until the 3rd round. He looked good striking. Neither guy got finished, unfortunately. Didn't get the under 1.5. And D'Elia by knockout obviously didn't hit. So this was a rough one for me. But, it is what it is. It was close. But, heavyweights, when they throw those big combinations, they're going to gas out. If they don't get the finish, they're going to clinch up and, catch their breath. I mean, we saw it, Taliesin Teixeira and Tai Tuivasa. These guys throw heavy hands, and if they throw more than 3, 4, 5 punch combinations and it doesn't knock the other guy out, they're going to hug each other and rest. So, that one sucked for me. But, good for Spivak. I thought he was not washed because he's only 31, but I just didn't think he was that good. And maybe I was giving too much credit to D'Elia for almost having Waldo knocked out. And, I don't know what they're going to do with him now. But, really good win for Spivak. Melky Costa, Dan Ige. The one time Dan Ige gets finished is when I need this fight to go a decision. Melky Costa, though, good for him, man. This dude is surging. That's, 6 fights in a row for him? And he fought 4 times last year, won all of them. He's now fought early this year with a win, and he took very little damage. So I bet he'll be back in there in May or June. So he'll probably fight 3 or 4 times again this year. And who did he call out? Diego Lopez. That's not happening, brother. But yeah, he'll be in the top 15. So maybe give him a top 10 guy. See what he can do. Dan Ige, I was giving him some respect on the spread just because he's fought some really good opponents and he's been in wars and he's never been finished. Maybe you could call that an early stoppage because he was still covering up, but he might have gotten slimed out early in round 2 regardless. So I did have Costa to win, but obviously we didn't get the decision and the Ige spread, so not the result we needed. But good for Costa nonetheless. And Ige, I don't know what you do. He probably just continues being the gatekeeper to featherweight prospects and maybe stepping in on short notice for future fights. Uros Medic, Jeff Neal, man. Thank God I put down the Medic KO in round 1. I knew that was not the only way, but the best way he was going to win this fight. And dude, Jeff Neal, back-to-back fights, he takes an elbow and now a punch to his temple. That might be it for him, man. I felt so bad for him because he's opened up about being sober. And this was like a home fight for him, and he gets absolutely slimed out in round 1. Uros Medic, though, dude. The post-fight speech was awesome. Who did he call out? Fuck. I forget. I can't remember who he called out. But the speech was awesome. And, we hit that 5-1 on him to win by KO TKO in round 1. But I really thought Jeff Neal, this was just such a step down in competition and such a step up for Medic. And maybe Medic is just that guy. Not that guy as in he's going to fight for titles, but this is like his time to go now. And fuck, it's really bothering me. I can't remember who he called out. I'm like trying to think of the welterweight rankings. And I just can't. Oh, Leon Edwards. I honestly could see them making that fight. Leon Edwards just got knocked out by by Carlos Prates, who knocked out Jeff Neal. So it's like, all right, you got knocked out by Carlos Prates. This guy just beat a guy who Carlos Prates knocked out. it kind of makes sense to me, you know. Would Leon Edwards take that fight? I don't know. I feel like Leon, with his, his resume and his, career track record, he might want to keep fighting the bigger names. But I think that was a good call out on Medic's side. It makes a lot of sense for him. So yeah, I mean, props to him. We had the under 1.5 rounds that hit easily. Jeff Neal, though, my boy, got absolutely dusted. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's it for him. If not, I don't know who you give him, to be honest. Then finally, the main event. I'm really glad, because like I said, when I put out my, official picks and then my early leans, when this fight first got announced or the odds started coming out, I was all over Fluffy because, I was, a believer in the win streak. And, Sean, when he fought Paulo Costa, that was a shit fight, and they looked like shit against Dricus, albeit it's Dricus du Plessis, so can't really knock him too much for that. But I just didn't think he was in his prime anymore. I just didn't think he was the same guy. Boy, did he prove me and a lot of people wrong. I was like holding on to that win by decision bet. I was like, all right, at least we're looking good to hit this. And then the knee to the body was beautiful. I don't think like Fluffy's out of it as far as like being a title contender. At the end of the day, you lost to a guy who's only been in 5 rounders in title fights for like the last 4 or 5 years. So, I think you give him whoever wins between RDR and Cal Barajo and see what he does with that. Because at the end of the day, he got TKO'd, but he didn't really like take a massive shot like Jeff Neal did. You'd probably get back in there fairly quickly. For Strickland, I mean, there's rumors of Hamzat vacating to move up 205 to fight Yuri Prohaska for the vacated 205 belt, assuming Poatan vacates. So there's going to be a lot of vacated belts. But if Chimaev doesn't vacate, I think you give Strickland the shot. This dude can wrestle, and I don't know, man. As far as like selling tickets for it, Strickland's going to, as love him or hate him, how easily offended you are by things. He's going to say some wild shit on the mic. He's going to sell the fight. And if he looks like this, I mean, he might put up a fight. I would obviously still take Hamzat. I don't think anyone can beat Hamzat. But if he stays at 185, I mean, I think they said like he doesn't want to fight Imavov because they're like buddies or something like that. Hamzat and Imavov, that is. I forget where I saw that, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad I put the spread bet to give some respect to Strickland, but I did not see a fucking TKO. I did not see that at all. So yeah, that kind of capped off what was just like, man, that was not a great card. I mean, again, we hit some long shot plays, which really, really saved us a bit. And that's why I love to play those. And if you're betting on a sport like this, I mean, you got to. You have to take those long shot plays on a volatile sport. Otherwise, if you're just relying on chalk money all the time, you're going to lose a lot more. That's like, again, I'm not a gambling expert, but I can tell you that. And at the end of the day, I know a lot of the, creators that I respect and listen to and trust in the, MMA, social media space. They're all going to be hurting after this card. There was a lot of fights that did not go the way a lot of people expected, like Costa getting a knockout on Danny Ige. I bet a lot of people didn't expect that. Sean Strickland TKOing Fluffy Hernandez. I mean, I will pay someone to show me a ticket of that where they had more than like 10 or 20 bucks on it. Nobody would have expected that. But that's just the sport, That's the sport, and that's why we love it. I mean, there's other examples like Liao Njokuani going the distance. I bet nobody would have predicted that, Zachary's Michelle Pereira going the distance. Same thing there. Dalia Spivak. You can kind of because there's definitely people probably expecting Spivak might get a takedown, just wet blanket for 3 rounds. But yeah, I mean, that's just the sport. It's volatile, and you're going to have good cards. You're going to have stretches of good cards, and you're going to have bad cards. I had a bad card, and that's fine. We'll own up to it. We'll move on. And it's on to UFC Mexico. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I'll be out of town next weekend, so I won't be able to get the breakdown or the recap directly after like I am this, because again, I mean, we're wrapped up here 25 minutes because it's fresh in the mind and it's immediate reaction. So I'll try to do that, as soon as possible next week. But yeah, same schedule. I mean, I won't do an early leans thing just because I only do that if there's like a break. I don't really see a point to doing that. So, yeah, Thursday or Friday, we'll put out the picks and predictions for UFC Mexico, and hopefully we get back on the winning track. But again, like I said, I'm always going to be honest, transparent. We took a loss this week. We're still up on the year. Hopefully we get back on the right track next week for Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh. Interesting main event. I don't really know what to make of it yet. I think Brandon Moreno wins. Maybe submits him, but we'll see. But yeah, so that'll do it for this. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys made money. If you did bet on UFC Houston, I hope you did better than I did and made out in the green. If not, keep it pushing. But again, only gamble what you can afford to lose. And yeah, never bet on something you're not comfortable with. All right, so that's enough therapeutic talk from me. Appreciate anyone for watching. I'll see you guys later next week for our UFC Mexico picks and predictions. Goodbye.